Lawrence County depends on WDXE. This is the legend.
And we made it to Bulletproof Estate Planning with my good friend Stan Pierchoski. Good morning, buddy.
We did make it. It's Friday again. How about that?
Friday again. We have made it all the way around the clock and all the way around the end of the week. And we'll start our weekend here.
We will, and I'm about ready for it too. So. Although I have to admit, it was a fast week.
Yes.
Me. I thinking back on it, it's like, gosh, where'd it go?
Yeah, it's been a busy time for a lot of folks. With the election, of course, was yesterday.
It was, and
all that stuff.
I was just telling you off mic. I had some buildings being auctioned yesterday, so I didn't think about the elections until about 8 o'clock when I got home last night. And you know, over in Giles County, surprisingly, I mean, the elections are the elections, right?
Yeah.
But we have a county executive race.
Yes, and we did too.
There are 3 people were up, and the winner won by 8 votes.
Oh my goodness, that was close.
8. I don't think I've ever seen one that close.
That's very close.
I mean, you can have close ones like that in local elections because the number of people voting.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever seen it. I remember one that was won by 80 votes.
Oh yeah,
years ago, and I thought that was a little pretty close too, you know. But it's by 8 votes. But anyway, it is what it is, and you know, it's all electronic, so I guess recounts don't really help much.
No, it's a done deal after you get the election results, pretty much.
That's right. So,
pretty much.
But you know, what's the saying? The one with the most votes wins, and it doesn't matter if it's 1 more, or 80 more, or 100 more.
Well, that's and that's the way it's supposed to be. Yeah.
But it was. But anyway, that was. I just listened to the results about 9 o'clock or something, or the ones they were projecting. So and it's just pretty much what you expected. But I think we had 11 new county commissioners. We turned
11 new
11 new ones out of 21.
Wow.
And and it needs to be because we were just getting a little old school over there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of growth here. Giles County being between Murray County and Huntsville,
Athens,
and Athens and Asheville, right there. We just have to grow. I mean, there's no people are looking to us to grow.
You guys are experiencing a lot of the same things that we are too.
Sure.
We're experiencing some growth, and it's just inevitable. So it's got to be handled somehow.
That's right. I mean, growth is not always bad. I mean,
no,
it can be, but you just need to approach it with a realistic mindset. It's inevitable. You can't avoid some of it, but you can keep it from running roughshod.
Yeah. One thing you can always count on is change.
Yep, that's right.
Things change.
So you just have to hope that change is for the better, not the worse.
That's right.
Changing for the worse is also change.
That's right.
All right. So we, a couple weeks ago, we did our seminar over here.
Yes.
And it was great. I mean,
it was very good.
I'm already starting to see clients from that all week long, and there was quite a few engagements over that, and that was great. They're very interested in the asset protection trust we do, which is pretty popular. The next one we're going to do coming up, we do about every other month now. So the next one is September the 12th. It's Saturday, of course. Somehow we got into always Saturday. I mean, we used to do them on other nights.
Sure.
Just by popular demand, Saturday seems to be the day that works into most people's schedules. So we September the 12th at 10 o'clock on Saturday, Will's Trust in the Nursing Home. And we're going to do that one over to Star Theater on the Square, right there on the 105 North First Street, right on the beautiful downtown square in Pulaski. So
absolutely,
I'll bring that up in Fridays to come as we get closer. But that's the next one coming up. It's not too early to RSVP because every time we have a seminar, there's inevitably a handful of folks at the last minute can't make it, but they sign up for the next one. So there's several signups already.
Yes.
But good thing about here and the Star Theater, the venues are pretty big, and so we can accommodate lots. I don't much worry about turning people away, although at both venues we got pretty close a couple times. Like here at this one we had to put out chairs without tables because we filled up all the tables, but we have it's a big venue. We can fit a lot of people if we have to.
Right, exactly.
My wife says pretty soon I'm gonna have to start bringing a little PA system so people can hear me. So it's not that they're that far away, but
I got to experience it myself. My wife and me, and my daughter and son-in-law, they came. And I can highly recommend it that you make that
it's good
effort to be there.
It's good information that people tell me all the time. They come in, they're looking on the internet, they're trying to find it. They find bits and pieces, and they find so many pieces of information where they get divergent answers. You get this is something that has to be done, and this is something that you can't do, and this is something that you can do. And it's just inconsistent across the board.
Yeah.
And when I look at that, I can see they're inconsistent, but it's because they're neglecting things to be said or that they know in the first place to say it.
Yeah.
And of course, when you read stuff on the internet, there's no kind of filter. There's nothing that screens what you can put on there. Yeah. So, I think somebody once said that the worst thing America could have ever done was give everybody a microphone. When you think about that, it's like, that's probably very true words. But it's inconsistent information, and it's frustrating.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. So I think people get a lot of relief from that frustration when they come to the seminar and I tell it to them because, I stand behind what I say. What I tell you is truth, is the way it works.
Yeah.
And when people engage and we do these trusts for them, we spend a lot of time drafting them, making sure that they comply with what they need to comply with.
Right.
Because it's not as simple as just, I've seen some trusts where a page and a half, and some lawyer draws up for somebody.
Right.
It's not the volume of the size of the trust. It's definitely the content. But the content you need in these trusts cannot be worked into very short, into brevity. It's kind of like anything else that's legal. There's a lot of things that have to be addressed.
Yes.
And a lot of things that have to be addressed to make these things work.
Right.
We go by trust law. We go by court cases that what we call common law. That's court-made law that controls these things over the years. And there's certain things that just absolutely positively have to be in these trusts. And if you don't, you can taint it because it's not drafted right. And I see that, and it saddens me that people put that kind of stuff out. But it doesn't do what they say it'll do.
Yes.
And unfortunately, you won't know it till the time comes. And when time comes, it's way too late to do anything about it.
Right.
And so these things are, I'm not saying they're very complicated or very particular, but they are structured in a way to do what they do.
Yes.
They have to incorporate the circumstances and parameters into this agreement that give you the credit protection that we're looking for. And
Yeah.
to get the credit protection, we got to do other things and put certain restrictions on the property we put in there, stuff like that. And if you do that right, then you get this credit protection. It's a grand tool. But and I've been doing it long enough to see them mature for people that applied for 10-care and they've had one of these asset protection trusts early on that have gotten past their 5-year issue and stuff like that, and they work very well. 10-care, that they want to see the trust. I often tell people somewhere along the line they'll ask for the trust. They'll know you have it, and somebody would say, "Well, how do they know I have this trust?" 2 ways. One, they do their own little asset search, and they'll see your home and they'll see it's titled to the Jeff Hood Trust, right?
Yeah.
And so they'll know you have the trust. 2, the 16-page application, right on page 2, there's a question that says, does the applicant own a trust?
Yeah.
And so you can't play hide the ball. You got to answer it correctly.
Yes.
But when we send them the trust, I said, don't worry. That's not a bad thing, because I tell you what, I know what they're going to do. I know what they're looking for in the trust, and I know exactly where in the trust they're going to look for it.
Yeah.
And I know in my trust they won't find it. So they're looking for this, this access to the principal that we have to deal with carefully. But which is, I've gone over many times in the show here. But just right now, I'm not going to get into the weeds on that right at the moment. But I pride myself on what we put in those because we draft them very carefully.
Right.
To make sure that those things that they're looking for, the bad things they're looking for, aren't there. And the correct things that they're looking for are there. Because, when you get to 10-care in the attorney level, they know how it works. I mean, they know how these trusts work.
Yeah. And
they just want to see them work because, like me, they have seen, or probably way more than me, they have seen ones that aren't very, how can I say it, aren't inartfully drawn. Okay, is a nice way I can say it.
Yeah.
And they have the flaws in them. And that's what they're looking for. If it has a flaw in it, they're going to find it. And I've seen other cases where that's exactly what has happened.
Right.
And so, one thing about that is you can learn from it. The courts thrash these things out, and the courts tell you what is right and what is wrong. So it's a simple process from there. You just do what the courts say they'll enforce, and you don't do what the courts say they won't enforce. So
right.
It's a simple way to go. If the courts have ruled against something, it would just be malpractice to do that in the trust. So anyway. It's a very popular trust. A lot of people do it because almost everybody that comes to see me in the very beginning of the meeting says this in one form or another. They say, "Hey, I worked all my life for this, and I got this house and 20 acres or something like that, and I don't want the government to get it. I don't want when they talk about the government, they're talking about the Bureau of Care, the
Sure.
state government, and I don't blame them. I mean, I'm right there with you, and you don't have to lose it to that.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that's
what
what
you
this
read
is
on
about.
what you read on the internet is not true. Where you say, "Oh, you just got to spend all your money on the cost of care until it's all gone,
Yeah,
then you'll be eligible." Well, I always say that is a way, and I think it's kind of a foolhardy way. I mean, if you want to keep your stuff, you can keep it and still become eligible.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that be much more preferable?
absolutely.
Now, I get people, and every now and then I get somebody that just doesn't have anything. They just, they got $1,000 in the bank. They gave their property away 10 years ago. They just don't have anything, right?
Yeah.
And I tell them, you don't need me to get eligible for care. They'll be eligible by default.
Yeah.
Just apply. I mean, if you have any help, need help with the application, I'll be glad to help you. But I mean, just apply.
Yeah.
What I do is I get people who've worked all their life and have accumulated a certain amount of wealth.
Yes.
And whatever your wealth is whatever it is. But whatever it is, you want to hang on to it.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
Everybody's wealth is different for everybody. But what you have has got your blood, sweat, and tears, and you want to protect it. And I get it. That's exactly what we do. And you don't need me if you haven't gotten it. If you're indigent, you're going to be eligible.
Sure.
No problem.
Yeah.
But if you have assets you want to protect to give, because most people say, I want to have this property to leave my children. That's what 99% of people want to do. There's people that don't have children. There's people that maybe don't leave their children, but by far, in the population, they want to leave it to their heirs. I'll say heirs because not always children, but they want to pass it on.
Yeah.
Now, the whole concept is you can pass what you have at death on to your heirs. The question is, will you have it at death
Right.
to pass on to your heirs? So the question comes up now, what can happen during life that can exhaust an estate or put a big dent in it? Enter creditors like long-term care, which is a huge creditor. If you ever run into, they're probably the biggest creditor you'll ever have.
Yeah, and it happens.
Yeah.
It can come and it can happen.
It does, and it happens all the time. People that, I mean, it's just amazing to me. But anyway, that's what we do, and that's what we talked a little bit about the seminar. When people
Sure.
and I offer, if you come to the seminar, I offer some incentive, because when you put on a seminar like this, I'll be perfectly full disclosure. This is what I do for a living, and it's my hope that after hearing what the options are, you would engage me to do it.
Sure.
But there's no pressure to do that. I mean, you don't have to. And if you don't go to me, then please go to somebody like me that does this and knows and understands it very well.
Right.
And so, as an incentive to do that, if you've come to my seminar or if you have watched my recorded version of it, we have a family vision meeting if somebody wants to go forward and talk more about it. And if they want to talk more about it at the family vision meeting, I offer an hour of my time at no cost if you've come and spent a Saturday morning hour with me on my seminar, or you spent an hour watching it online.
Yeah.
And I do that for this reason. It makes that hour we spend together much more productive. And here's why. If you walk in and want a cold meeting, just what we call, haven't been to the seminar, hadn't been to watch the recorded one, and we sit down for an hour, we're going to consume that entire hour on questions like, what's the difference between a will and a trust?
Yeah.
And what happens if you do a trust and already have a will? Well, I cover all that stuff in the seminar so that you will start to gravitate one way or the other. So when we get to the family vision meeting, I will identify that in the first 2 minutes. And then we will get down into the weeds of what it is you're gravitating to. Somebody comes in and they say, in the first couple of minutes, I'll know, they say, I want to protect my assets from, the government or the high cost of long-term care. And I say, okay, that's that asset protection trust I talked about. And they say, yes. And I'll start drawing it out on the board, and we'll start getting into the weeds a little more than I do at the seminar, because the seminar is only an hour and 15 minutes long. Yeah. And I can't get into detail in any of the three things I talked about, right? So, but we'll get into the weeds, and I'll say, look, it's important to me that you understand how this works. So let me just diagram it out and be perfectly clear what's expected of you and what it'll do for you and stuff like that. And so it's a very productive meeting then, because we've already covered the preliminaries at the seminar and stuff. So actually, and the girls in the office, we got 4 girls that work for 4 women that run the show pretty much. If you come in without having gone to one of those, and you insist on having some time with me, they will insist on you paying for the time. So I offer that hour at no cost. I do it freely, so take advantage of that. Yes. I mean, at the end of the hour, if you say, hey, this is not for me, I mean, that's okay. I mean, what I'm really looking for is an informed decision. You're in charge of your family and your family dynamics, and if you see something that will fit your family dynamics, I say go for it. If you
Yeah.
see if it doesn't, then it doesn't. I mean, I get it. And people make decisions, and they're personal based, but it's hard to make a decision if you don't know what the options are.
Yeah, well, it's well worth the time. And of
Yeah.
course, I've been privileged to get to spend a lot of time with you here on a weekly basis. And so I really felt like I knew a lot about this anyway, and already did. But I'll have to say the seminar is even a little more of a personalized time with you. And then, of course, bringing the family in
Mhm.
to get to hear more about it was a big deal.
And you hear it all at once. You
Yeah.
hear some stuff every
Right.
week and stuff. And if you remember, I even acknowledged and recognized you and your honorary law degree.
My honorary law degree, that's right.
That's right.
Pardon me, my nose is trying to run. You just go right ahead. I'll be right back.
Well, just back up a little bit. Don't be spreading those germs over here. Maybe it's allergy or something. Huh? I don't have too much in the way of allergies, but I know that stuff can. Sometimes I'll bush hog and I'll hit like a patch of clover and I get this giant wave.
Yeah.
And it'll like make me sneeze a couple times, make my nose run, but after 15 minutes it kind of is gone. I don't have like an allergy attack, but it's so strong when that happens.
Well, it hit me all at once here for some
Yeah,
reason.
maybe it's me. Maybe you're allergic to me.
Maybe.
That'd be a bummer.
Uh,
So anyway, what do we want to talk about today? I'm trying.
well,
I had this topic, and
it's probably not on your list, but we had a big discussion about spam a while ago.
oh, okay. I try to listen to you when I can, but I have a radio in my truck that just
Yeah.
went south, and if you try to change the channel or do anything, it just decides not to do anything, and I can't get it to run half the time. It's been on my list to replace. It just hasn't been high on the list.
Well, I did have someone ask me to ask about assets
Sure.
and qualifying assets as to the different types of assets, and I think specifically, retirement accounts and how they belong to you or they don't belong to you. You kind of mentioned that a time or two, and then and I don't know if you want to get into the taxes on this or not, but that was mentioned as well. But defining assets.
I can get into taxes to the extent
Okay.
that I know. We talk about assets. I think you're limiting it to money assets, and because assets you have real estate,
Right.
you got personal property. Well,
Right.
well, let's just start with fundamentals. There's only two kinds of property in all the world:
Right.
real property, which is land and everything that's permanently attached,
Right.
and then personal property, which is everything else.
Yes.
So, which is, it includes your pots, your pans, your tables, your chairs, your cars, your boats. So, but also in the class of personal property is money in the bank.
Right.
Now, when I say bank, I mean any bank posture:
Yes.
checking account, savings account, CDs, gold account, Edward Jones managed account, brokerage accounts. Money in the bank is money in the bank.
What about IRAs and all that?
Money in the bank? Okay.
Money in the bank.
Or with an insurance company of some
Sure.
sort. So,
Okay.
So, when it comes to money in the bank like that, we have what we call qualified funds and non-qualified funds. That's broken down into two categories.
Yeah.
Qualified funds are the tax-deferred funds,
Okay.
like an IRA, 401k, 429 plan, 459, all those different things where and what those are plans, often they refer to as retirement accounts.
Yes.
And you can also throw Roth in there. The Roth has the different taxing, but let's just talk about the tax-deferred.
Okay.
Now, when I say tax-deferred, what it means is you sign a contract with this bank or this insurance company, whoever's selling you
Sure.
the qualified account, and you say, I'm going to give you money. I'm probably going to contribute every month over lifetime or
Sure.
time. And what you're going to do is you're going to collect it all, you're going to invest it. And when I turn 59 and a half, if I decide to take distributions, or if I turn 73 and have to take distributions, you're going to start paying them back to me in my retirement years. And so what I'm doing is I'm giving you this money. You're going to create a future stream of income for me
Yes.
in my retirement years. And the deal is, the IRS part of the deal is, I'm going to pay the tax and contribute to my fund tax-free. However, when you pay it back to me, it's going to be I'm going to have to put down countable every payment for, let's say you're getting a payment a month. You're in your retirement years. You're taking distributions. You get so much a month for 12 months in the calendar year. I'm going to have to report all that as taxable income now. So we're going to pay the tax when it comes back. So that's what they call tax deferred. We're deferring paying the tax until it comes back to us.
Yes. Okay.
Those are qualified funds. Non-qualified funds is just money in the bank in some other way that's not like that, not like
Okay.
a retirement account. Now, that's the difference between them two, but they do work a little different in estate planning.
Okay.
Because let's take a 401k, okay? That's a classic, 401k and IRAs are classic qualified funds. I mean, many people have either one or the other. The other ones are like, I can't remember, the 459s are like the kind of plan you get if you're a teacher. And and 429s are, I mean, they're different. They're the same kind of plan, but they're structured for a group of people.
Sure.
So let's just stick the IRA or the 401k which is anybody can do. Now, one thing I want to point out that some people, I want to make sure you understand. A lot of people have the thought process, if I put money in a 401k, the government can't get at it. Okay. You ever heard that?
I've heard that.
Well, let me tell you something. If you look at a 401k, I want to tell you how it got its name. First of all, you got to understand how its name is written. The name is written 401, left parenthesis, small letter K, right parenthesis. Okay.
Okay.
Now, that's a section in Title 26. Title 26 is the Internal Revenue Code. Now, you kind of see where I'm going, right?
Mhm.
These things are created by the people that can get at your money. And they created it. If 401k is the statute 401 subsection K. That's how you cite in Title 42. So
Okay.
it's United States Code, Title 42, Section 401, subsection K, subparagraph K. And you go down, and that's the thing that says how you can do the 401k plan.
Okay.
So if you think the government can't get at it, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but they created it.
Okay.
So what's that tell you?
Yeah.
I mean, they can't. Now, so just a little piece of trivia there.
It's their invention.
And so, okay, so we have this thing, and let's say we want to do some planning. And let's just put some money in. A lot of people have maybe more than this amount of money, but I like to use, when I talk on the radio, it's hard to do math, or it's hard to relay math to the listeners.
Yes.
So I'll just say a nice, easy $100,000, right? Because that's an easy number to do in your head.
Right.
Like if we throw something else, some people have IRAs and stuff, 401ks with much more than that, and that's usually the case. But I'm going to use that number simply because it's a nice, even number, easy to understand the other numbers that follow. So you have an IRA, and let's call it a 401k. You got a 401k plan, it's got $100,000 in it, and you should come to me and you say, hey, I want to do an asset protection trust, and that's an asset I want to protect.
Right.
The 401k. Well, I have to tell you that the $100,000 in there you do not own. It's not yours. And some people want to crawl across the table and smack me and say, "But the heck I don't. That's my money in there. I put it." And I get the concept. Okay, I understand.
Yes.
But what you have to understand is what you own are the future distributions when it starts to pay out.
Okay.
What you've done when you signed the contract for the 401k is you agreed to do just what we said. You're going to give them money. It's going to accumulate. When it's time to pay back, and you can't take distributions before 59 and a half. If you do, they punish you. And you have to take, if you don't take them at 59 and a half, you have to take them at 73.
Okay.
They're called the required minimum distributions then. And so what you signed up for was this future stream of income. And so you don't own the income until it comes to you. So you only put in a trust what you own.
Right.
So, I mean, you couldn't put your Social Security payments into a trust because that's a stream of income.
It kind of fools you though to think, because it's hard to think that you've contributed monthly, you've contributed. They send you these statements and they tell you how much is in there.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly what. That's why the people get mad at me when I tell them that.
They'll tell you got so many thousands of dollars in this IRA or this 401k deal.
Mm-hmm. And you do. There's nothing not right about that. That's a correct statement. You got statement. You got $100,000 in this thing.
Yep.
Now, let me say one thing. It would be possible to put a 401k into the trust, but what you have to do is cash it out and get the lump sum $100,000 and put that into the trust. But now it's not a 401k you're putting in trust. You're putting in the ownership of a lump sum of money.
Yeah.
Where in the format of the 401k, it is a future stream of income, which is why it is a beneficiary-driven instrument. So if you don't take many distributions or you pass away and there's still money left in that, you have named beneficiaries to whom it will go to, what the remainder will go to.
So what do you do with it?
Okay, it's a special asset that's treated in a special way. It used to be, let me give you some history. Sometimes history helps. Does me, I don't know, but I'm going to give it to you anyway.
Yeah, I like history.
Prior to 2019, IRAs, and the I stands for individual.
Yes.
So when you have a husband and wife, it used to be it was an individual account, not really available for the other spouse's care
Okay.
because it was an individual account. It was yours. You
Okay.
can't have a joint IRA. Okay, no such thing. They're individual accounts, and so husband and wife each have an IRA. And it used to be a couple of things. One, they were protected from use for the other spouse, and two, they were designated if they were accountable asset if they were not in payout mode. So let's say you got an IRA and you're 40, 50, 55 years old and it's not paying you back yet. It's accountable asset. Accountable asset means
Right.
if you go into long-term care, you would be required to use that to cash it out and use that on your care because it's
Okay.
accountable. And then, but it used to be considered if it was in payout status. So let's say you were taking distributions, then it became a non-countable assets. Well, they changed that back in, I'm pretty sure it was 2019, but that in 22 other states changed all that. Now these 401k plans and IRAs are countable assets all the time, whether they're in payout status or not, and each one is individual each one is available for the other spouse's pay. So you and Teresa has an IRA, got $10,000 in it. If you go in the nursing home, her IRA is available for your cost of care. They'll consider that you have to use that to pay, vice versa. If she
Okay.
goes in, yours. That's what was changed. And which kind of sucks, but that's what they changed. Okay, that's
Okay.
what it is. Now, how do we deal with it? There's a pretty good way of dealing with it. It's what we do. We don't put it in the trust. We keep it out because we have to. You can't put it in the trust, right? So we keep it out. We let it pay out. We don't disturb it. We let it start making payments like it's intended to do in our retirement years. Let it pay out, right? Now, I tell people that we will deal with that if one of you go into care. I mean,
Yeah.
let's think of it this way: dying is a win, right? I say that somebody thought I said win, W-I-N. I said when, W-H-E-N. Dying is when. If somebody says if I die, it's better said when I die, right?
Right.
We know that's happening.
Yeah.
Going into long-term care is an if. I mean, not everybody does, right?
Right.
Some do, but some don't. But the whole idea of this planning is you're hedging your bet. If you are somebody that goes there, you want to be structured financially, not to get hammered.
Right.
So
Right.
what we do is we let it do what it's supposed to do, is pay out in our retirement years.
Okay.
And then if one of you go into care, now we have these crisis planning tools I talked about at the seminar. Crisis
Okay.
planning tools are tools that are only available once you're in care. They're not available to you now because you're not in care. As the first criteria out of the gate for all these tools you've got to be in care. And so what we will do at that point in time, we'll take the IRA, yours and or the spouse's. We will cash it out because if you're in care, you'll never be eligible until you spend that money down on something else because because it's countable, they will expect you to cash it out and pay for your care.
Yes.
You can't say, but that's in this IRA, it's supposed to pay me income later on. They say, well, no, that's not a countable asset to you because we changed it a few years ago.
Yeah.
And it's accountable now. Accountable. And again, when I say countable asset, if you have trouble with that word, insert the words available for cost of care asset. So if you cash that out, it's available for your care.
Yeah.
Now, what we want to do is when time comes when you're in, before we want to file an application, what we're going to do is cash that 401k out.
Yeah.
And now, when I say that, don't panic, because as soon as I say it, somebody says, well, then I'm going to pay the taxes. Just hear me out.
Okay.
We cash it out, and we're going to roll it over into a similarly taxed instrument. Now, we have 60 days to do that, but every time we've done it, it was for eligibility purposes. So we literally would cash it out on Monday and buy the new, put it into the new instrument Tuesday. We don't need 60 days, that's why we're doing it, but you got 60 days to do it. So what we're going to turn it into is what's called if you're married, this is what I'm talking about, a spousal Medicaid compliant annuity. Now what we've done is we're going to take a countable asset and turn it into a non-countable stream of income.
Okay.
And we're going to make the spouse the payee of this annuity, and we can save every dollar in that IRA or 401k by saving it by sending it to the spouse. Now, what does that look like? These Medicaid compliant annuities are what we call SPIA, S-P-I-A, stands for Single Premium Immediate Annuity. Meaning if we buy it in August, the first payment is in September. It pays out immediately and you only pay one premium.
Right.
Now, what we do is we can take this thing and turn it in. Now the size of the 401k starts to come into play. So we cash it out. Let's stick with this $100,000. Cash it out, get $100,000, right? But now it's not a 401k anymore. It is now an annuity going to be payable to the spouse.
Yeah.
Now, when we pay it to the spouse, we analyze a couple of things. We want to analyze the spouse's health. Because now that this annuity is going to start paying out,
Right.
the tax is due when it's paid. Because when it comes back to you, the tax is due. Remember I said it's a similarly tax deferred instrument.
Okay.
So you get all your tax deferral. You didn't have to pay the tax when you cashed it out because we put it into something else. Now, the annuity can be short as we want, and I think the shortest we can make is like 4 months, which is very quickly.
Okay.
But the longest it can be, whoever's IRA it was, it's capped at their actuarial lifetime.
Okay.
Now, if you don't understand what actuarial lifetime means, it means the government already knows how long you're going to live.
Okay.
You go to Title 42, the Social Security, and go to the tables, the lifetime tables, and you go down column 1 you go down, get under the table marked male, if you're a male,
Right.
or female. You go down the column 1, get your age. You go across to the number of years you're expected to live.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that's the date where you're going to drop dead. It means that's actuarially, which is like statistically. So we cannot make it longer than that. Now, what I'm talking about is the compliant part. When I say Medicaid compliant annuity, the compliant parts are these. Once we turn it into this, it's irrevocable and unassignable. Okay, we can't change it. And I'll talk about, if I have time, I'll talk about why that's that way.
Okay.
2, it has to be, it cannot exceed the owner of the account's actuarial lifetime. It has to be actuarially sound. And then 3, it has to be equal payments every month. Can't be $10 a month and some giant balloon payment at the end, that sort of thing. And so those are the things that make it Medicaid compliant. If we do all that, they let us turn this asset that's an accountable asset into a non-countable stream of income, and we can protect all of it. So so what we do is when it's time to determine, we get to determine the length of time.
Okay.
If they're going to pay to the spouse at home, okay, if that spouse's health is poor, and we're worried about them going into care, we're going to pay it back in a short period of time and just take the tax blow, okay? If they're healthy, we're going to stretch it out a longer period of time and mitigate the tax blow. Which is what we want to do, is get it to that spouse and be done with it so it's protected.
Sure.
So
Okay.
that's what we do with it. It works very well. Now let me talk about the compliancy issues. To be Medicaid compliant, like I said, it has to be irrevocable and unassignable. Here's what they're worried about. Here's why it has to be irrevocable and unassignable. It means once you do it, you can't undo it. So here's what they're worried about. They say, okay, we'll let you take this $100,000 and turn it into an annuity. But what if you buy the annuity? Now that $100,000 is out of your account. It's no longer a countable asset. And let's say now you're eligible, because that's the whole reason we did it, for eligibility purposes.
Okay.
And now you're eligible. Now the TennCare finally says, okay, you're approved, we'll pay the bill. Now that you're approved, they're thinking, what keeps you from going to the annuity company? Say, okay, I want to cash that out. I want to just undo it and cash it in and take the money.
Yeah.
And they're saying, so in order to prevent, because the whole idea is you can't have that money. So if you do this, you cannot go later, cash it out, and not have the money.
Okay.
So it's got to be irrevocable and unassignable. When you think about TennCare and you wonder why they do certain things like this, always think about where's the money going to go, or where are they trying to keep the money from going, and then things will make a little more sense.
Yeah.
They don't want it coming back to the applicant.
Right.
Okay, so in this way, it can't. Once you say it's going to pay the spouse, it's going to pay the spouse. And it also has to be actuarially sound.
Right.
I just talked about that. So a good example of actuarially sound is you can't be 95 years old and buy a 40-year annuity, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, they won't let you get away with stuff like that. That's form over substance, really.
Sure.
But they will let you go actuarially. Now, I've had some that were pretty short in time. I've had some 91 or 90-year-old that had actuarially had 32 months left, in the chart. We just can't make it any longer than that. But we can make it as short as we want. I think the shortest the annuity companies will make it is 2 or 4 months.
Okay.
In which case, I had a big one at one time. It was just almost 500,000, like 485,000, and we paid it back in a period of like 12 or 14 months or something, pretty quickly.
Okay.
It was like a $17,000 check a month for 14 months.
Wow. Okay.
And the person receives $3,000 or $4,000 in interest on that over that short period of time.
Sure.
But we save every dollar in it with that. It's a great tool. It's a great tool, and we use it a lot for these individual accounts. Now, it gets a little complicated when it's the person in care's account.
Okay.
Then we have to pay it to the spouse and make them the, something we call the name on the check rule, so now it ends up being the spouse's income.
Sure.
And
Okay.
so, not their income, because it's their account. So that gets a little tricky, and you need somebody like me to do that, but to make it work. And because a lot of times we have to explain that to TennCare because they don't quite get it. But once we explain it to them or go to appeal on it, it's all, it's always successful. So,
Isn't that neat?
yeah. Well, I mean, and again, this is not my. It's not my grand plan to do this. Out of our Deficit Reduction Act of 2005, adopted by Tennessee in 2006, talks very clearly that you can take a sum of money and well, the Medicaid compliant annuity, like we did for your father-in-law,
Sure.
where it's not a spousal one. It talks about the spousal annuity, which is a pretty easy one to understand. You just pay it to the spouse. But if you're a single person, like we did with you guys, it says you can take a sum of money and you can gift it away.
Right.
But you retain a sum of that money because the gifting away is going to trigger a penalty period. But now you're going to retain that money to purchase a Medicaid compliant annuity that's designed to private pay through that penalty period. And as a result, then when you're married, we can protect 100% of it. If you're not married, we have to make the annuitant a child or somebody else. There's going to be some loss, and the loss is going to be that penalty period, which is
Right.
typically in the neighborhood of a third. So when we get to being single, start feeling a little bit like you have a hand tied behind our back, but we can still save 2/3 of it.
Okay.
Which is better than zero if you cash it out and spend it on care. So, but those Medicaid compliant annuities are a grand tool, and that comes out of our Deficit Reduction Act that says exactly what we can do. You just have to do it right.
Sure.
You just have to do it. You have to, don't gloss over the C in MCA, Medicaid compliant annuity. It has to be compliant.
Yes.
And they have identified what those compliancy issues are. And I hit the big three. Big three is actuarially sound, irrevocable, and unassignable, equal payments every month.
Right.
And now, depending on how it is, some of those, like when we do it for single person and there's a penalty period, that person for that penalty period is not on TennCare. They may be approved or something, but TennCare is not paying a dime for it. So if something happens to that person during that period, you have to name the state of Tennessee as the primary beneficiary on the annuity. But if that person passes away during the penalty period, we go to TennCare and file a release, and they send us a release. So we don't have no claim on this annuity because we never paid anything out for this person. They were in a penalty period.
Right.
We would have started paying when that penalty period was over.
Right.
But so they have no claim on the annuity because they don't have a claim on the state. So that we name a secondary beneficiary, which would be like the spouse or a child, and then all that money goes back to them.
Wow.
So we protect it in many ways, and it all works, So it's kind of number heavy sometimes.
It is number heavy. It seems complicated, but doable.
Well, I try to break it down to the fundamentals. So.
Right. Right. Okay. Well, that's interesting.
I mean, you
Very
asked about
interesting.
qualified.
And
You asked about qualified, and they gave you an earful.
you did. You did.
You know what? Your calendar shows the date digitally.
Yes.
I keep saying 8:07, and I keep thinking that's the time because
No,
it's
no,
always
no.
8 something up there.
No.
But it's like
We're 8:45
I
and
know.
counting.
I see it now, but I'm just saying it's a little.
But we got. You mentioned in passing gifting.
Mhm.
Okay. Why is that allowable? What's the deal on that?
Well, it's kind of not allowable, but I mean, in other words, you can gift. They can't keep you from gifting, right?
Okay.
But if you gift away assets, they can punish you for doing it.
Okay.
That's that 5-year period. Okay.
Okay.
So you
okay.
can always gift stuff away, but the question is, if you gift things away within 5 years of applying for long-term care help through TennCare, there's a presumption in the law. Now, when you talk about law, there's always these things called presumptions.
Yes.
That absent any other proof, the presumption will carry the day.
And
right?
gifting can be real property.
Oh yeah,
It can be just money.
any property you can gift away.
Okay.
I've had people gift away acreage, or gift away money.
Yeah. But the idea behind it is, in common thinking, is we're going to give this away so the TennCare and nursing home, if I ever go there, is not going to get it.
That's right. And
That's what people are put in their heads.
that is the mind thought. It's kind of like if the nursing home's going to get it all, then I'm going to just
Yeah.
give it away.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, they thought about that before the ink was dry on the Medicaid Act. The Medicaid Act they did in July 31st, 1965. They thought about that before that.
Right.
And now that I say that, just a week or so ago on the 31st, 7 days ago.
Yeah.
Medicaid was 61 years old. 1960,
61,
July
okay.
31st, 1965. So anyway, and people that deal with Medicaid still don't understand it.
Okay.
I stand behind that statement. So if you're one of the ones that out there that do understand it, then I will yield to you, but I speak in general terms. But we're talking about gifting. So there's a presumption of the law that if you give something away and you have given it away, I mean, when I say gift, the word gift is nowhere in the statute.
Right.
I use the word gift because it implies you don't get anything in return, right?
Right.
And the statute calls it a divestment. So if you give something away and don't get anything for it,
Yeah.
and I won't complicate it right now, if you don't get, or if you get very little for it,
Sure.
but let's just say you don't get anything for it. If you don't get anything for it, TennCare can punish you for doing that if you've done so within 5 years of applying for care.
Yes.
Now, that's because the presumption of the law is that if you give it away, and you give it away that soon before applying for care, that you did so to artificially impoverish yourself.
Yes.
Or for eligibility purposes, which is why 99% of the people do it.
Right.
Now, sometimes, you can, the statute says, if you can show that it was for a purpose other than eligibility, then you won't get the penalty period. That's a tough road.
That's a tough one.
It's a tough one. I won it once, and I don't have to do it again because it was close.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how that worked. These are the facts, but I don't know that it would. That was probably 5 years ago. I don't know that it would be successful.
Yeah.
But had a gal she had I just can't remember. I think it was 9 grandchildren, and every year she gave the grandchildren like $1,000.
Yes.
Okay, and she had been doing that for 20 years or more.
Yes.
And so then she ended up failing health, and she applied for TennCare.
Yes.
And TennCare come back and said, for the last 5 years, we can only go back 60 months, right? But for the last 60 months, you gave away $9,000 a month. So we're going to add all those up. So it's 5 times 9,000, which is what, 45,000 under 50. And
Yeah.
so we're going to call that $45,000 a gift, and we're going to make a penalty period, which is a period of ineligibility that we're not going to pay for because you gave this stuff away within 5 years of applying for care. And the presumption's in our favor, says TennCare, that you did it for eligibility purposes.
Yes.
And so we tried to argue with them that that wasn't the case. But, let me just cut to the chase. We had to go to appeal on that.
Yeah.
We couldn't talk a minute. We get to appeal, and we argued and said, look, this woman's been doing this for 20 years. It's a prior course of conduct. She was doing it back before long-term care was even a thought in her mind.
Yes.
Right? And which sounds like a good argument, doesn't it?
It does sound
It
like
sounded pretty good to me, too. But the state came back with the argument, yes, but in the last 60 months, she had some illnesses, and she had some sort of what we call inquiry notice that she might be applying for care someday because I can't remember what her issues were, whether she was starting to get dementia or not, but she was starting to get that decline.
Sure.
And they said, so it became foreseeable in the last 60 months that this could have happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I could tell the court was leaning that way from the questions they were answering. And when you break it down, I guess they're kind of right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but what finally pulled it out of the fire and saved it, and like I said, I don't have to do it again. This woman had a pretty big estate. It was like $1 million, $1.5 million or something.
Yeah.
And I argued the fact that, hey, if you can show it's for another reason, it's not a penalty period. And I said the state's trying to claim she was giving these gifts to artificially impoverish herself, or under the statute for eligibility purposes.
Yeah.
I said if that's what she was doing, she was failing miserably. Giving away $9,000 a year with $1 million estate, she's not even putting a dent in it. If she was doing it for eligibility purposes, she would be giving $50,000 apiece, or whatever she can do to whittle it down. And that made sense to the court, and they ruled in my favor.
Yeah.
But I tell people that's pretty much an unwinnable argument. I don't know if I was just lucky or the stars were lined up right, but I don't want to do it again.
Yes.
So, but now, keep that in mind. Let's just say, with that gal, we were dealing with crisis at the time. If that gal would have come to me and did the asset protection trust,
right?
Well, she puts it in trust. Okay. Now she can gift out of that trust all day long, right up to the day before she goes into care, even after she's in care, and it doesn't trigger any penalty period because she's already on the hook when she put it into the trust for 5 years. Yes. When it comes out of the trust and goes to kids, which you can do that, and it doesn't restart her period at all.
Okay.
So say she puts some money in this trust, 5 years go by, and she still wants to make yearly distributions to the grandchildren. Every time she does that, it's not a gift on that's going to be to penalize her. Because remember, without the trust, they said you've been doing this every year, so you have 5 years worth of
Right.
giving. 5 years times $9,000 because we can only go back 60 months.
Right.
And so you've been doing that. We're going to add them all up. When she could do the exact same thing now, and they have no argument because she didn't give it away. She was on the hook 5-6 years ago when she put it into the trust. She can actually distribute it very soon, right after she puts it in the trust, because now the trust owns it and the trust gives it away, and the trust can't be punished.
Yeah.
So you can, if you want, people that do gifting, and a lot of people do that sort of thing. But some of them don't do it for fear that they're going to get hit with this penalty period for giving it away. But if you have the trust, you can give away and continue doing it at there's no detriment, no downside to
Right.
it. So
Right.
it preserves that ability to still do that. So that's an advantage to do it if you want to continue making gifts.
Yeah.
So
And it does, the same thing kind of applies if it's a gift of real estate.
yep, they just say whatever that value, fair market value is,
Yeah.
what you gave away.
That's what you gave
And
away.
while we got a few minutes, let's just say, I keep saying you get a penalty period. I talked about this at the seminar, and I've talked about it many times on the radio. But I understand people don't listen to the radio every Friday, so
Yeah.
you might not have heard some of those things. But let's just go over what briefly. It's numbers, but you have to bear with me.
The penalty period, and this is not like in hockey.
That's right. It can be pretty detrimental. The penalty period is they're going to say, let's just say you give away $100,000.
Yes.
Whether you give somebody a couple acres of land that is worth $100,000, or you give them cash, or you give them stock shares, it doesn't matter what the posture of the asset is. The value of it is what all that they're concerned about. And if the value is $100,000 and you gift it away, meaning here it is for love and affection, you didn't get anything in return.
Yeah.
They're gonna and now you turn around and apply for 10-care anywhere less than 60 months.
Yes.
And they're going to say, they're going to look back in your history, they're going to see this gift, and they're going to say, you know what, you gave away $100,000 that had you kept it, you could have used it to pay us. So since you gave it away, we are going to not pay your care for a period of time based on that value. So what penalty period comes of that kind of gifting? Well, there's a formula for it. And the formula is this: the penalty, they call it a penalty, I call it punishment. I think my term hits the nail on the head a little bit because it's pretty harsh. So the penalty period is figured out like this: you take the value of the asset and you divide it by the Tennessee divestment divisor. Okay, it's a special number for every state and it changes every January. Right now, in 2026, that number is $8,846.10 per month. Okay, so you take this $100,000, you divide it by the Tennessee divestment penalty divisor, which is $8,846.10 per month, and you get an answer in months. The engineer tells me that you multiply dollars by dollars per month, or divide it by dollars per month. Your unit of your answer is going to be in months.
Okay.
So doing it in my head, we're looking at about what, 10, 11 months. 100,000 divided by 8846.1.
I'm getting there. I've got a
I got
calculator.
my phone right here.
I got a calculator here somewhere.
I got it
So
right here.
100,000
Yeah, divided by 8846.1.
divided by 8846.1.
46.1. Yep.
11 months.
Okay, 11 months. So that's
11 and a half months.
your penalty is 11 and a half months because in that 8846.10 per month is roughly based on the cost of care. A little low for around here, but better than it used to be, that's for sure.
Okay.
So what they're saying, basically, if you hadn't given this $100,000 away, you could have paid us for the 11 and a half months that would have paid us for. Now, when people will call me and say, well, you say it's $10,000 a month, and you figure that out, that the numbers don't work. Well, that is the amount 10-care would pay. Because remember, your income always goes to cost of care. If you have $2,000 of income, that goes to cost of care. 10-care pays the other 8.
Yeah.
So that's why it's not like that. So,
Okay.
But that's what they're saying is, and you gave it away, we're going to impose a penalty period because you did it just so we couldn't get the money.
Yeah.
You did it for eligibility purposes. So that is based on the value of the gift. And it's not just a gift. They was like that lady, that experience I just told you about. They will sum up all the gifts you made in the last 60 months. I have people come in and say, hey, Mom's getting ready to go to long-term care. I've been in charge of her estate for the last 5 years. Man, I've been doing my job. I've been giving, the IRS says you can give away $19,000 to people. I've been giving $19,000 to grandkids, kids every year, giving it away. Man, I've got Mom's accounts whittled down to zip. I would be patted on the back for doing that. And I'm thinking to myself, how do I take the Band-Aid off? Do I just
Yes.
rip it off real fast and just let them have it? And I say, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but every one of those is a gift.
Yeah.
And they're going to add every one of those up and punish her for doing it. And it's like, they get mad. The IRS says you can do that. Well, the IRS is a federal taxing agency, correct?
Yep. That's true.
TennCare is a state long-term care agency. They are not one and the same.
They're not.
If the IRS says you can do it, TennCare says, yeah, you can do it. The IRS says you can do it, and you don't have to file a gift tax return.
Yeah.
We're calling it a penalty. We're going to hammer you for it because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Or it's a divestment.
Yeah.
Your clock is off, but I think it's off by about 2.5 minutes, so we're
Yeah.
getting close.
We're 3 minutes.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Well, 2
But
minutes.
anyway, that's the what the penalty period's about, and it's a harsh penalty because now you have to private pay. Well,
Yeah.
can you private pay? You just gave your stuff away.
Yeah.
Oh well, I get the kids. I guess I just won't get the care. Well, neither is a good choice. at
No
all.
good choice.
It's a harsh penalty. We always avoid the penalty periods whenever we're doing planning. So, anyway, next seminar, February the 12th.
February 12th.
At the Star Theater on the Square in Pulaski.
No. February?
I'm sorry, September.
September.
Did I really say February? You know what? That's how it starts. That's how it starts.
That's like
I better
February.
start pulling out the
It's
crossword puzzles.
September. Yeah. September.
September the 12th, 10 o'clock in the morning, the Star Theater on the Square in Pulaski, Wills Trust and the Nursing Home. Be there. If you want to talk to me at my law practice, Pierchoski Estate Law, give me a call, 931-363-7222.
Yeah.
Go to my website, estateplanstand.com. You
Yes.
can ask me a question by email or get the phone number and look at my calendar and see where I'm going to be.
You have filled up our good hour here, buddy.
Oh.
And done a good job with it, too. I've got to try before I'm finding my break point right there. So, there.
So, what do we got left?
A minute. Got a minute.
Oh, wow, okay. So, yeah, if you want to talk to me about any of this stuff, give us a call.
Yeah.
We schedule these scheduled phone calls. We call them 15-minute calls. I call them 15 lawyer minutes because they're never 15 minutes long. But I'm more than happy to discuss things with you. We have the seminars, and if for some reason you can't make the seminar or you can't wait to the next one,
Yeah.
we have a recorded version. It's probably 90 to 95% of the same information. You just don't get the pleasure of my personal presence.
Yeah. Check out the website too, estateplanstand.com. That's a good place to start, and of course, all the contact information is there.
That's right.
And Stan, always a pleasure, buddy.
Always a pleasure. See you next Friday.
We'll see you next time. Okay. All right. Very, very good. I'm gonna push the buttons.
Since 1951, this is WDXE AM.
The last minute went fast.
Yeah, it went fast.
Whole hour goes fast. Oh, the fastest hours of my week.